Soul, you. Oh, soul, you. Me, I. Oh, Soli Mio!
Yes!
That's it! Isn't it funny, way? You know, I didn't like you at the beginning. Isn't that funny? I was quite wrong about you.
All right, your go.
Yeah, right. Tell me when you get fed up, we'll have a sing-song, all right?
Yes, all right.
Right, here we go, right then.
Tony Hancock returns next Sunday at 7:15. The soundtrack from that programme's available from BBC Records, and several half-hour episodes are featured on BBC Videos. And if you're collecting the whole range of Hancock memorabilia, you mustn't forget the book on his life and times. In 10 minutes, Songs of Praise for Easter comes from Bury St Edmunds. First on BBC1, the news from Moira Stewart.
In South Africa, anti-apartheid campaigners have decided not to begin another school's boycott by black pupils. 1,500 delegates at a conference in Durban decided that black and coloured pupils should not boycott classes after the Easter holidays. Delegates said they feared that children had been bearing the brunt of the anti-apartheid struggle. Instead, the conference called for a 3-day national strike in June on the anniversary of the Soweto riots. This report from Michael Burke.
They came from all over South Africa carrying mattresses. The conference was telescoped into one long night session to escape the violence that yesterday claimed 2 lives. The decision they had to make was simple: whether millions of children should stay away from classes, sacrifice their schooling in the campaign against apartheid. The government had granted some of their educational demands, but few of their political ones. The issue was finally divided.
And we will find a way of some concerted, united action to tell the whole of South Africa and the whole of the world, we want to be free.
It had been described as the most important meeting here for a decade. The mood was militant.
The regime may be losing control, but we must understand that as it loses control, then its actions become more criminal.
But the final decision, announced at a news conference, was essentially practical. A list of new political demands, strident and seemingly endless, and the decision.
All students should return to school when the new term starts.
There's growing speculation that the Reagan-Gorbachev summit, due to be held in Washington this summer, could be in jeopardy, following America's rejection of talks on a nuclear test ban. President Reagan has turned down Mr. Gorbachev's offer of a meeting in Europe to discuss the single issue of banning nuclear tests, and has made it clear American tests will go on. Today, SDP leader David Owen urged Mrs. Thatcher to intervene to bring the two sides together. He said Britain could now act as an honest broker. The disruption, which has hit thousands of schoolchildren in England and Wales, will continue next term. The National Union of Teachers today voted overwhelmingly to continue its pay battle with the government. Delegates at the union's conference in Blackpool decided classroom sanctions should go on, but so too will the talks with the Conciliation Service ACAS to try to find a solution. Today, teachers were warned they now had to convince parents their cause was a just one.
The 1,600 delegates were in angry and determined mood. They want an immediate increase of £800 a year, and they won't wait 6 months for the outcome of the ACAS talks on the long-term structure of teachers' pay. They condemned the other unions for accepting the recent pay offer, and some delegates were critical of their own leadership too.
The lack of stomach for a fight is not to be found amongst the membership, but on the executive behind me. Because this policy that they are putting forward is not a recipe for a salary victory. It is a recipe for running down the salary campaign.
But that was a minority view, and although the conference agreed not to commit itself to further strike action at this stage, there was no question of backing down.
The government has miscalculated the mood of the profession and the mood of this union. They thought we were a pushover after the miners. Union is a collective noun. NUT also means no U-turn.
In Northern Ireland, a 20-year-old soldier was shot in the face during a Republican ceremony in Londonderry. He's now in hospital, where he's described as very seriously ill. At the main Republican parade in the Bogside area of the city, there was further trouble. A volley of shots was fired over Republican graves, and soldiers were stoned by marchers.
The soldier was hit by a sniper's bullet fired from a hill overlooking the spot where the Republican ceremony was taking place. He was hit in the cheek and was later transferred to a hospital in Belfast. A weekend of parades by both Republicans and Loyalists has brought major security problems in several parts of the province. In West Belfast, one of the marches commemorating the 1916 Easter Rising was closely watched by both the police and the army. The parade down the Catholic Falls Road passed off in a relaxed, almost carnival atmosphere. But at the Milltown Cemetery, there was the serious message of the day. Wreaths laid at the graves of IRA men, and speeches calling for the terrorist campaign to continue. The security forces maintained a presence throughout the rally, but there was no attempt at any paramilitary display during the demonstration.
The Pope has criticised countries which use violence as an instrument of power and guerrilla fighters who resort to terrorism and revenge. He made an urgent call for peace during his Easter message in Rome.
Sia lodato Gesù Cristo.
60,000 people gathered in St. Peter's Square to hear him, including the American Secretary of State George Shultz. The Pope gave his Easter greeting in 50 languages.
Espressione inglese, a blessed Easter in the joy of Jesus Christ, the risen Lord and Savior of the world.
At Westminster Abbey, the Archbishop of Canterbury has praised the impressive example of an Ealing congregation who showed forgiveness following an attack at their vicarage. He called on all Christians to follow their example.
We are constantly sickened by sights and first-hand accounts of violence against women or children, against whole groups of people who are labelled and despised. We shall not turn back the tides of such violence simply by employing its weapons in word or speech.
The Queen went to an Easter Day service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. Prince Andrew and his bride-to-be Sarah Ferguson were also in the congregation. Despite the wet weather, a crowd of well-wishers turned out to see the royal party. Prince Charles was there too, obviously still in some discomfort from his recent accident. From Miss Ferguson, there were only smiles. She and Prince Andrew were driven away with the Queen to spend the rest of the day at Windsor Castle. 3-month-old Mark Clarke, who was fitted with a heart pacemaker on Good Friday, is expected to leave hospital today. Mark has been making good progress in Birmingham Children's Hospital. He was given the pacemaker to correct a slow heart rate. His mother visited him today.
I would like to thank the doctors and nurses, all the nursing staff, from the bottom of my heart, for what they have done for Mark. And they don't only treat you as a mother, they treat you as a friend as well.
And that's all for now. I'll be back with the main news on BBC1 at 20 to 10.
Well, I think it must have been one of the coldest Easter Sundays for many a long year today, especially in central parts of the country where the temperature was only around about 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. That's only in the sort of upper 30s Fahrenheit. There is warmer weather on the way for later in the week, but of course too late to save the holiday because it's going to be just as cold, just as unsettled as ever in the next few days with this low pressure milling around us. As far as this evening is concerned, for England and Wales, a good deal of cloud, I think, scattered about already, or still there are some outbreaks of rain and sleet. And during the course of the sort of evening and first part of the night, there will be more in the way of rain and sleet and snow working its way across most of England and Wales. I think you'll find much of the sleet and snow is in the northern areas, although there will be some on the hills further south, 1 or 2 sleet or snow showers in northwestern areas there of Scotland, but tending to ease off most of it in the further south you go later on in the night. A cold night everywhere, a touch of frost in some western and northeastern areas. And then tomorrow, well, I think we'll find there will still be some outbreaks of rain, sleet and snow to begin with in northern and eastern parts of England, but hopefully by the end of the morning that will have moved on. And then really it's going to leave us with a pretty cloudy day just about everywhere. Not much in the way of dry weather either, a little bit of brightness perhaps scattered about, a little bit of sunshine as well. The best of that in eastern Scotland, but there will be some scattered outbreaks of rain, sleet and snow once again. Most of the snow probably in northern areas, and of course, having talked all the time of snow, it is going to be a cold day everywhere, 7 or 8 Celsius, the mid-40s Fahrenheit.
2 programmes later tonight on BBC One. At 7:15 AD, Anno Domini, a major new 5-part series chronicling the birth of Christianity.
I thought things were quiet in Palestine.
Things are not quiet in Palestine.
Those rebellious Jews, is there no pleasing them?
All is well, Caesar. Attend to your health. The empire is stable under your rule.
Hello, Your Majesty. We are glad you could make it.
And at 10 o'clock, Royal Gospel Gala, a special concert by top gospel artists in the presence of Her Royal Highness the Princess Anne to raise money for the Save the Children Fund. 2 programmes this evening on BBC One.
Now on BBC One we join Sally Magnuson with our Easter Songs of Praise from Bury St Edmunds.
Hello and a very happy Easter to you. To celebrate this, the most joyful festival of the Christian year,